the black race. Why? Because the black race don't like to be ruled by the devil, because the devil has no consciousness. If you look at liberals have no moral value when it comes to righteousness. That's just one component. But what did Biden do? What did Biden say? Now, check this out, man. Check this out. Biden went to Buffalo, New York, to the market where the mass shooting happened. And I have to, put it on record. A white boy got a mapped out a city that had almost 90% population black, and the poverty line was very close. So he decided to drive 200 miles from his town to Buffalo, New York, where he had a 20-page manifesto, had firearms, bungee cords, all types of stuff to lock himself in and to kill as many people as possible. One of the racist events in American history. And we know without a shadow of a doubt, this is the most modern racist significant event. This is why we have to pay attention. Because we thought that the Biden administration would actually change the game and bring us together. But clearly, these two rivaling tribes have, put their dukes up again. And we see a civil war because the Republican Party is making a play at democracy, and making a play at democracy is ruining the Democratic Party, which will eliminate democratic rule here in America. Because how can you build and destroy at the same time? How can you be a United States of America dealing with an opposition on a regular? Anything you do, there's an opposition party that steps up and blocks it, because that opposition party is party over people, because democratic rule only deals with liabilities, not assets. Now, asset is a partnership, but we'll talk about that. What did Biden do? What did Biden say? And this is why Black America is done. So share, subscribe, talk to people. Let's have conversations, because there's a method to the madness, because it's going to lead to our deliverance as a people, because we can no longer be under demonic rule. And that's what democratic rule means, because demonic rule has to trample and blot out and choke out truth and righteousness, because we're trying to multiply. So if we have 1 million and we multiply our million times -1, that means we have -1 million. So in this case, one apple does spoil the bunch. This is why we can't deal with negativity. And this is why we have to choose to build instead of destroy. That number 8 is strong, because we have to make a decision to build, because once you build, then we're born. And then it's another level of completion to repeat. But if we destroy, it's kind of crazy how number 8 comes before number 9, and we're tripping off Roe versus Wade. Hello, somebody. That's crazy. We have to make a decision to abort or to be born right now. But we choose to be born. It's crazy how the universe sets everything up. But what did Biden say? What was this comment that he made that where Black America and all Black leadership and the entire Black race has turned and shunned and abandoned the Democratic Party and the demonic rule party? What did Joe Biden say? What did Joe Biden say? Well, I guess this is a case where the chickens have come home to roost. Joe Biden said in Buffalo, New York, while he went out there to take that photo op, he's talking to Black clergy, Black leadership. He's talking to the news cameras. This is broadcast and was broadcast on live television, because the world wanted to know, especially Black America, since this was a hate crime in a Black city, what the president was going to do to reduce racial tension. Nothing. But what did Biden say? This is what Biden said. And we're going to continue and talk about it, because this is the one They say his election is the big lie, right? But this is the biggest lie. He can't blame nobody. He can't point a finger. He has to be accountable because he said it. And what's going on with the world was good for the goose is good for the gander. So you need to take responsibility for these atrocities because you're in charge. What did Biden do and what did Biden say? Biden said out of his mouth, I'm going to say this again. Biden said out of his mouth during a speech addressing hurt people, Biden said that evil will not win. Joe Biden said out of his mouth that evil will not win. And I sat there and I said, wow, this is our express pass. This is our ticket. This is what we got. He gave us what we need, and we're not going to move from it. The man said evil will not win. And we all know that that's a lie. And that's a lie because didn't something convince Black Americans to vote and select the greater or the lesser of the two evils? So if evil is not going to win, why was we convinced to vote for the lesser of the two evils? Think about that. Evil will not win, but no. This is what I've been told. Hey, no. Vote for the lesser of the two evils. And I'm sitting back saying that the demonic rule party is not the lesser of the two evils if you know history. The lesser of the two evils is the Republican Party because the Republican Party sees Black Americans as an asset, not a liability. That's what the Civil War was all about. So when Joe Biden said evil will not win, I'm sitting back saying, didn't you say vote for the lesser of the two evils and you won? So evil prevailed in 2022 because we was convinced to vote for the lesser of the two evils. All of us had these conversations. Evil is evil. I remember, like it was yesterday, there's no such a thing as lesser than the two evils. Evil is evil. Only an evil, demonic, ruled by the devil person will tell you to vote for me because I'm not as evil as the other guy. And then that was just perception. You perceived. But we know the Democratic Party is anti-American. And this is why they're making a push to do any and everything that they could do right now. Because the powers and principalities and evildoers in high places do not have another generation. Now, we understand, about some stuff that may go over people's heads and, skin tissue, skin grafts, body parts, things like that to expound in terms of living. It's how you have a lot of 96, 97-year-old philanthropists that just, they know what they're doing. This is why, Planned Parenthood and body parts and all that, but it gets too deep. But we're going to stick to lying Biden. Seriously, we're going to stick to lying Biden. That man lied through his teeth. Evil will not win. We were convinced. Think about it, though. We had debates. No, the lesser of the two evils. How and who and what can convince spiritual people to vote for anything evil? Now, me personally, I did not want to be a hypocrite. I did not want to be guilty by association. So you know who I voted for. I got 47 votes in the 2022 election because I could not select a party that I knew was dying. So this is why on the federal level, they're going after laws and bills to change and wipe them off the Fed books, because anything you wipe off the federal books, the Democrats suffer. Because if we look at this Roe versus Wade and appeal that, then what else? Where is the other bills that need to be looked at? And it goes right down to the 13th Amendment. It goes right down to the 13th Amendment. And that's clear. So they're mad because they know what is about to happen. And we was convinced, at least I wasn't, but that big lie, the January 6th insurrection, all of these things that's going on, distraction tools. Black America is done with Biden. And we're not only done, we're done. This thing is cooked and we poking it because of the disrespect, the lies, and deceit right in our face. We can't continue. There is no way we can continue. We reject democratic rule and we embrace the Constitution. I'm going to say this again. We reject democratic rule and embrace the Constitution. The Constitution says we the people. We elect our officials to go to Washington and lobby and, legislate for the people. We don't select or elect our officials to rule us. But let's keep going back because anything that goes on in the dark will ultimately come to the light. So now we get a chance to put the high beams and the spotlights, in the era, where things went wrong. Because if we were functioning in a system that did not operate and we wanted it to operate properly, but we built it wrong, we will basically break it back down to build it back better. We understand what the wording is, but building and destroying don't work together. A negative trumps a positive. So any destruction in the building aspect will hinder the building phase. So this is why we as a people got to understand. And if we disconnect from the destruction aspect of it and build, then we will be born. Because after the number 8 come after 9. And how many months does it take to have a baby? The universe is speaking. Black America is done with Joe Biden. And Black America is done with democratic rule. We're done. We're done with the lies. We all know without a shadow of a doubt, voting for the lesser of the two evils was literally the slogan, was literally the catalyst that was sold and bought by blacks. And I'm sure you feel played. I'm sure you didn't think a vote for Biden would be higher gas prices. I'm sure you didn't think a vote for Biden will spring on racial tension and, mass shootings of just black people. You thought that he would be different. Yeah, he's different, clearly. Now, if we were an employment agency and we had to select a president or a CEO, we wouldn't have selected Joe Biden because he has no experience in running a business. And even the other guy has experience, but somehow he was demonized. And all we did was talked about his failures. And if you want to see a successful person, let's count how many times that successful person failed and fainted not and got to that next level and got that $1 billion bag. We're talking about billions. See, we're not dealing with flesh and blood. We're dealing with the powers and principalities, evildoers in high places. Now, the Biden administration is done. Done. The American people, we reject being liabilities. And we understand that politics is a participation sport. So now we have a constitution that says we the people, and that's the document that we're going to take to the bank and cash our checks. Dr. King had a plan. That March on Washington was a little something different. He was under the impression that, they was going to get some money, but didn't get anything. And now, generations after, the next generation is standing here saying, hey, we see what y'all doing and we don't like it. We reject what you're trying to feed us.